That's a pretty cool intro. What's up, guys? My name is Noah, and today I'm going to be talking with you guys about the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah, so there's a storm going on outside. It's from probably the outskirts of a hurricane that's coming up and down the coast. So if you hear that noise, that's what that is. I apologize in advance. But today I'm going to be talking to you about the Portland Trailblazers. So the Portland Trailblazers have a lot of potential. So what we're going to talk about first is how they are currently constructed, because that's what we're dealing with right now. So as they're currently constructed, you have probably a starting lineup of something like Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, maybe Mario Hezonja, with the four being maybe Zach Collins and Hassan Whiteside, which is okay, but Hassan Whiteside is obviously filling in for Yusuf Nurkic, and I want to first talk about Nurkic. Okay, so Nurkic went down last season with a, hang on a second, let me look this up. Did they even say? Compound leg fractures. Okay, so he went down with a compound leg fracture, and holy crap, was it disgusting. I was watching that game, and I have to say that was one of the grossest injuries I have seen, up there with Hayward. But aside from that, what I wanted to talk about was, in that game, he had 32 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 blocks, and 2 steals. That is all-star type numbers. And it wasn't just then. That whole year, I remember watching the Portland Trailblazers game and being like, man, this guy is really, really good. I genuinely believe that he's one of the most underrated players in the league. I wanted to take a small sample size of what he did in his last 5 games, because that's the most recent that we have of him, and I'm just going to take that sample size. So he would average like 20 points a game, 10 rebounds, and basically 3 assists. 3 assists as the big man on a team with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, who are the guards. That's really good. So he can do a lot of things for that team. He's versatile, he's a good scorer, he's a great rebounder, and like I just said, the playmaking is incredible for his center position. They use him so well. They use him sort of like an Al Horford for the Celtics, where he was, they would dump the ball down to him in the post, and he could create from the post or score from the post. And it just created, you couldn't force him to do one thing, because he excelled at doing the thing you were going to force him into doing. So he was a really big part of that team, and that was a huge blow when they lost him last season. So until he comes back, Hassan Whiteside is going to be filling in, and he should do fine. He will allow Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum good pick and roll opportunities, and you throw it up there, and Whiteside can go get it. He rebounds really, really well, and honestly, he should be able to band-aid this Nurkic injury until he comes back. So the other reasons why they'll be dangerous: Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. So they've always been a good tandem, right? They've always been really good. But the reason why they haven't been able to win anything, honestly, was teams were just better than them. It's as simple as that. Sometimes it's just that simple. Teams were better than them. But since there aren't any super teams anymore, which I consider a super team 3 stars, there's no obstacles in their way, honestly. It's all tandems. It's all 2 players. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. This team is just complete. It's all around good. If you look at some of their depth, they have Dame and CJ. They have Rodney Hood, Kent Bazemore, Mario Hezonja, Nasir Little, Anthony Tolliver, Zach Collins, and then at the center, obviously you have Nurkic, Whiteside, and Pau Gasol. You can even throw Zach Collins in there at the center position, because I think he will be playing some 5 for them. But I feel like that's a good team all around, and I think the pieces fit. I think that's really important for pieces to fit, and sometimes the sum is greater than its parts, and I think that this will be one of those teams. I think the pieces will just fit. I think it'll work, and I think it'll allow everyone to flow. It'll allow the offense to flow. Something else to note about this Trailblazers team is the young talent that could make a large impact. You look at someone like Nasir Little. How did he slip to the 25th pick? That genuinely blows my mind. He is a slashing scorer they could use, and he's an excellent defender. Now the 3-ball, it's spotty, but he has good mechanics, and I think that he will be at least a competent shooter. So I think that he's actually going to be a pretty big piece for them this year. He could even have the starting small forward job, I believe. So, you know, that just allows more versatility at the defensive end. And then offensively, you know, when you have Dame and CJ pretty much handling the ball most of the time, it's not super hard to cut off ball. And it's not super hard to get to the rim when you have all these players spacing the floor for you. Especially if you have a smaller lineup there with Zach Collins. You have 5 out. The 2 words that I would use to describe this team is potential and versatility. They have a lot of it, and I think that's super important in today's NBA. I think it'll translate on the court, it'll translate into wins, and that's them currently constructed right now. But I wanted to mention something else. Everyone's probably heard about this trade scenario, so it should come as no surprise that I'll mention it. Hassan Whiteside for Kevin Love. This deal makes so much sense for both sides. I honestly believe it's going to happen. There is nothing coming out of Portland, nothing coming out of Cleveland that says we're considering this deal, we've talked about this deal. This is purely fan speculation, 100% all the way, and I'm totally down for it. This is a win for both sides. So you trade Hassan Whiteside, who has an expiring large contract. Portland gets Kevin Love for a couple years. I believe he's got 3 years left, or maybe 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they would have Kevin Love lock him in for 4 years, which they've just locked CJ and Dame in for the next couple of years. So that would cement, honestly, a big 3 if Kevin Love can get back to playing kind of the style. I guess it would be similar to the style that he played in Cleveland as the big 3, you know, as a spot-up shooter in the corner. And can you imagine a lineup of, say, Dame, CJ, Nasir Little, Kevin Love, and Zach Collins? Good Lord. Talk about offense. That would be crazy. I just think it would fit. It just works so well for it not to happen. Cleveland, Portland, if you're listening, please make this happen. Please, we need this to happen. Please, Cleveland, you're not winning anything. Don't you want to lose more games? Hassan Whiteside is not going to help you win more games. Kevin Love would. So this is the part of the video where I talk about where I think they're going to end up in the standings and what their ceiling looks like. They should be a top 5 seed, and their playoff ceiling is entirely dependent on the health of Nurkic and when he comes back. That also would go for the seeding in the regular season, I would say, as well as Nurkic's health. And a Kevin Love trade would make things super interesting, and it would change the dynamics of the team. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content here, and the next team I'll be going over is the Boston Celtics.